Alright guys, I think I figured it out. Okay, so they just released the first trailer for the Owl House finale, and I'm pretty sure I can already tell exactly what's gonna happen. Go check it out on Disney Channel if you haven't already seen it, cause I'm gonna be breaking it down and addressing the scenes in a different order. And trust me, you gotta go watch it the proper way first, cause it's actually fantastic, and most likely the last trailer we'll ever get for the show. Alright, let's get into it. Based on the clips in the trailer, I think this is what's gonna happen. This episode's gonna kick off right where we left in For the Future, with the Collector attacking the Hexside Squad with Bello still on his shoulder. I don't think there's gonna be any backtracking like with the previous parts, and we're just gonna jump right into the action with the start of the Collector's game. But first, can we just take a moment to appreciate Lumity here? Like, we're probably not gonna have time for much, so we gotta just take what we can. Anyway, it appears as if the game will be comprised of 3 stages, and will make up the majority of the first and second act, with the first part in the real world using everyone as players, then delving further into fantasy until only Luce remains. This is why our characters each have 2 distinct costumes, as their clothes from For the Future are only present when things are real, with the others being donned as we leave reality behind, thus giving a stark indication of when we start the final stage. The 3 parts of his game will thus be broken down as follows: totally real, kinda real, not real at all, with the final stage most likely taking place inside their minds. I believe the first stage will take place in the collection room, as the trailer showcased Gus and Willow rounding up some puppets. As they're both still wearing costumes, we can tell it's early on, and so I think it's fair to assume this is one of the first things that happens. Maybe as they work to rescue some of their friends, we'll get a version of Capture the Flag like everyone wanted. Shout out to the roundtable if that actually happens, because it's been one of their theories for a really long time. As none of these elements are all that crazy, the events that take place in these clips seem like the most likely candidate for the game's first stage. Now, it could also be argued that this isn't a game and is instead just a side quest to rescue their friends, but as both Willow and Gus are using glyphs instead of magic, I don't think this is something that they're doing on their own. I think it's more likely just a part of the game, with them both being forced to use glyphs instead, and that whatever they're doing here as they gather the puppets is just part of a challenge the Collector has made. This is his episode where he literally pulls the strings, so as he's the one controlling the game, they'd have to follow his rules. And as we've already seen him treat their whole reality like a toy, I feel like he could make them play however he wants. Like, I could totally see him issuing a no magic rule and straight up canceling their magic for the duration of the game. It would even make sense as he knows Luce uses glyphs, so he might try to make their power level even with hers. Stage 2 is then focused on Luce, King, and Ida as the game kicks off by interrupting their reunion. This could actually be why King's been put in the game at all, as the Collector might have initially tried to keep him out of it, but then realized there was no use in trying to persuade him. With the Collector having to face that King loves Luce more, he would face them all together, essentially giving up hope. I think this is why it appears he's going all out, and honestly seems to be kinda losing his mind. Like, are you okay there, buddy? Do you need to talk? He does. Also, can we just appreciate the fact that the Collector is literally Pac-Man? Like, this show is just too friggin' meta, I love it. It's evident these challenges make up the second stage, as he's altered the setting they're in just like he did with King. This represents the midpoint of their journey into fiction, as the game's no longer real, but hasn't yet gone in their heads. As the stage only showcases Luce, King, and Ida, I believe it's happening at the same time as stage 1, with the Collector only focusing on the show's main trio, and the other players being left to take on the Collector's spies. I think this is why we never see Luce with the others, as the Collector probably separates them right from the start, and I know we don't see Amity or Hunter with them either, but I think there's still evidence that they're both part of the game. As the Hexside Squad are all tied up together later on, I think it's safe to assume that they all meet the same fate, and as we don't see this happening with Luce and Co at all, I think it reinforces the 2 distinct groups. The outcome of these games is revealed by this shot, as we see the puppet's hand that's scratching out a light glyph. Now, I'm assuming this is Amity in her Hecate costume, as we know she changed her nails from black to pink for Halloween. If this is the case, then her being stuck as a puppet is not only real, but it also implies that the rest of the Hexside Squad are puppets too. And again, as we never see this happening with Luce, King, or Ida, it's most likely a result of the game that they were in, with Luce's group moving on to the Collector's final stage and the Hexside Squad losing, turned into puppets by the spies. Even though it looks like these games are very different, I think it's more likely they'll be linked in some way, with the outcomes of each one affecting the other, and this tying into which team has to win. Maybe these stages are set up in such a way where there's only one team that's allowed to move on, with the Hexside Squad giving up and letting themselves be caught as a sacrifice to Luce to make sure she makes it through. Or maybe they all just suck and they all get caught like right away. I don't know. Either way, I think Luce will have to witness this fate, as it could be a punctual moment in her battle with self-doubt. From her own perspective, she'd feel she's let them all down once again, as yet another example of people she cares about getting hurt because of her. On the other hand, they all believed in her enough to sacrifice themselves, and I think they'll help her understand this when they see her again later. Now, it's also possible these stages could have been one after the other, but I honestly just don't think we'll have enough time. It also doesn't make sense for Luce to be in both games, as if the Collector isn't busy fighting Luce, King, and Ida, then he would just be a part of this game and he would win it right away. I really think these stages are going to play out together, both making up the bulk of what is only Act 1, with Luce, King, and Ida moving on to the final stage and heading into their minds as we shift to Act 2. Okay, the script is really long, so I'm making it 2 videos instead. I need a break, you need a break, let's all just come back tomorrow. That's actually why this video took so long to get here. With both parts together, it's about an 8-minute script, which is more like 20 minutes with how fast I talk. And I was trying to get this done in under 3 days. So thank you guys so much for giving me the time. It allows me to make the best videos I can. Oh, also happy birthday to that one guy in the comments. Alright, bye!